call this meeting to order. If we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can we get a roll call of the members present, please?
Councilmember Jessen. Councilmember Witten.
I am here.
Councilmember Conover. Present. Councilmember Graham.
Here.
Councilmember Larson. Councilmember Bozick.
Here.
And Councilmember Rivas.
Here.
Okay, so 5 present.
I believe Jeff Larson is on his way and should be here shortly, so, Mike Jessen is still out of town, work-related stuff, so. All right, so we're going to try to move through these fairly quickly, if we can. A couple things. The auditor has pulled up on the screen some of the stuff we asked last meeting for her to do. So she's pulled out all of the requested raises and additional people to see where we would be at before we start. Well, speak of the devil, Mr. Larson's here. And that number comes up to be $43,150,333. Again, with respect to our general fund, we adopted again last year $38.2 million.
Yes.
And the auditor says we would be comfortable with new money going to $39.4 or $5 million. We budgeted about $2.4 million into our hospital interest, of which there will be about $1 million left at the end of this year. So we'll be tapping into foundation earnings as expected, and the question that we have to ask ourselves is how deep into those earnings do we want to go. Also, our attorney at my request has looked into the question I had about the hospital trailing liability. I think you have some information, Harold, right?
I do. I talked with the outside attorney that's handling those trailing liability cases. She has only one left. And she believes that the county has already met its deductible on that one. She's going to confirm that with the insurance company. The only case that she has is that. She doesn't think that there are any other cases there, but she's going to confirm that for us and talk to the insurance company to see if there's any outside firms that might have any other cases. But if that's the case, there's one left, and it sounds like regardless of the outcome in that case, the county may not have any further liability on it. So. Okay, well, that'll be something. As soon as you hear the end opinion on that, we can start looking at whether or not we need a budget as much as we are on the trailing liabilities fund. Okay, with that in mind, let's go to the Sheriff General Fund. Oh, Sheriff. All right, guys, what's your pleasure here? Any questions? I know we've got some, Sheriff, we've got some requested raises in the budget that we're going to address. You weren't here at our first reading, but we want to address all requested raises at one time when all the council are present. And I believe you have a PowerPoint presentation, which I would suggest, if you're going to give it at that meeting, so that everyone will be here to see it. It doesn't make any difference to me, but you might want everybody here to see it.
All right. Well, can I say something?
You certainly can.
First of all, I want to obviously thank you, and I want to thank all the councilmen. We did show the PowerPoint to several of you. I know a lot of people are busy. I know Jeff has been busy, and you, Dan, but we put a lot of work and effort in that. Last year, what you did last year was really one of the best things that's probably ever happened to our Sheriff's Department, in the sense that we were so far behind, and that raise you gave us put us up where we're at least competitive with the other departments that we compete against. We talked about, a couple of years ago, we used to have 150 people apply to the Sheriff's Department for merit officers, and, a couple of months back, we're just finishing up a process where we had only around 30 people apply. So it's obviously, even though with the raise, but we're seeing that we believe it's going to turn around, and it's just, there's probably a lot of factors. But, we're really proud of what we do, and, the people behind us, they work real hard. There was some, not confusion, but last year we said we'd present this for the merit and would come back this year for the jail. And I don't want to confuse anybody, but obviously one of our priorities is still the merit. But we believe that the jail is, what we're requesting in the jail is almost threefold. We're asking for additional manpower, and I think our PowerPoint really clearly depicts why we need the additional manpower in the jail. We're also asking to consider the restructuring that we're proposing. We're doing away with the matron. We're putting our case manager, or Jay Berkey, into a fold of not an officer, not a jailer, but what he does every day, and also to consider the raises that we're proposing. So we know we're asking a lot. We know we're probably the biggest ticket item of your whole budget proposal or budget request, and everyone's going to come in here and adequately probably give their side of why they deserve what they deserve, but we're a 24/7 operation, and everybody behind me, we have something that most departments don't deal with, and that's liability. And I think if you look at the course of what we do on a day-to-day basis, the lawsuits that we have or don't have is largely reflective of the commitment and the professionalism that we have throughout all our employees. And so I just want you to think about that when you consider our proposal.
Sheriff, I see that you're asking for 3 new people, or 3 new positions in the jail. You're not asking for any new merit positions, is that correct?
Well, what I did was, in our proposal, we have our PowerPoint presentation on one of them. We have 3. We have one for a short one on the MEG unit, and I thought that was important because we're in charge of the MEG unit now.
Right.
And you need to understand, and we didn't do this for this reason, but I have 5 officers, the size of our department, 5 officers assigned to drug units, from Chicago through Lake County and in our county. And you fund one of those. Yep. So what we ask for at some point in time of your process, if you would consider at least giving us one merit officer, that would be a tremendous boost, help for us. So that's what we're asking for. It's not in the proposal.
Right.
Mike Jessen said that it could be adjusted if the money was available. The 3 people that we're asking for in the jail are people that we've lost, that were never replenished in our budgets. We lost one for the medical, one works full-time in the medical. We put Jay Berkey on, and Jay's been, he was our chaplain, and he's been really busy over the weekend because we've had bad things have happened, but he's always been there. But he also does all of our program. He's our program director. So of all the things that we do in the jail, he's been a tremendous, I just can't tell you what we do without him. So we want a jailer to replace him. And then what was the 3rd one we lost? Oh, and the lieutenant. We were 1 lieutenant short. See, he puts that presentation on, so I know I messed that up. But we're 1 lieutenant short, and we want that promoted, but we don't want just a promotion for the lieutenant. It's not really the money so much, but we lose a jailer, and we're desperately in need of jailers. So that's, kind of counts for those three.
So Vicki, I see that we, of course, are increasing perf from 300,000 to 930,000. That's the pension.
Correct.
Now, we already had 300,000 in there.
Yes.
I thought it was over $1 million.
Yes.
So why 930?
Okay, and then earlier this year, if you look at the far right column, you did an additional appropriation of 580.
Okay,
Okay, so the sheriff is proposing to boost it up to 930
and that'll cover us through.
with the sheriff pension trust supplementing it. Remember, they had that separate
Right,
fund
of course.
that they get through the paper service, and so that should push you just over $1 million.
Okay. All right. Any other changes on this proposed budget? What's your pleasure, guys?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve on second reading with a second. Discussion?
This includes none of the jailer things that they're at?
No, this does not include any of the increased personnel or raises. And what we discussed, Andy, yesterday was that because we're starting sort of in the hole a little bit here, we wanted to get through second readings, or nearly through second readings, and then address any requests for additional personnel or raises. So at that time, we can see, what we have available and sort of prioritize where we want to allocate the resources. So the auditor has pulled all of those things out of the proposed budgets to address it later. And the reason for that, quite frankly, is that we don't want to get halfway through second readings and the flags go up and say you're out of money, and people on the back half of the second readings are just out of luck.
Well, I'm wondering if maybe, and I just want to suggest this, that if we look at this jailer increase as part of the normal budget procedure, because they are so underpaid versus the other counties in the area.
We're going to find that in just about every department we look at. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm
just asking.
It's a solid concern, but we're going to be dealing with that. I would suggest that when the prosecutor comes up here, he's going to tell you that comparatively
Well, we fixed them
speaking-
last year, we're good.
Yeah, we're good, at least three of them anyway, that they're grossly underpaid comparatively speaking. So I really think it would be best if we just maybe even had a meeting to just deal with raises and personnel, just deal with that.
I have a question on,
Yeah.
On the motor vehicle. I know that the commissioners are no longer paying for that at all, it's all in the general fund now?
Vicki, you want to answer that question?
They had been paying motor vehicles out of CCD, and that has been cut.
It has been cut,
Mhm.
so there's no more CCD.
Not that they're proposing, no. We could go to the
So there is money in the
CCD.
CCD, but they're just taking the vehicles out.
The CCD rate was cut.
It was cut.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, it was cut a lot.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
With that being said, though, is the 330, and I know I think you've worked with the commissioners on figuring out some kind of a plan
Right.
for purchasing so many vehicles and get on a steady rotation. Does this fulfill that?
This would fill that. Right?
All right.
I can't see 1217 or garage. Are those proposals that I put in there?
mhm. They're scrolling down.
Oh, okay. They're down there?
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure they were included, because I'm not seeing what you're seeing.
How much did we budget for vehicles this year, Sheriff? Do you remember what that was?
Well, it was right around 330.
Why don't we go to CCD?
And we also purchased 2 vans, one of which I took out of a fund that I get through the user fee, so it didn't come out of the general funds.
In this,
I think they're in there.
okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What kind of cycle is that then?
Thank you.
Like a 5-year? I mean, how often is somebody getting a new vehicle?
Every 5 years.
Dan, you get one every 5 months.
Gotta match his mood.
I can't keep my wife on good looks alone, my man. What other questions do you have? How do you even top that? Come on.
Is that overtime pay pretty consistently been used every year for you guys? Do we revisit that during the year, or has that been sufficient enough to cover?
Definitely not sufficient enough, no. But I use, for jail especially, because we go through so many
I
people,
saw
I
you
use
put a thing,
unused
was
hours.
it 30,000 additional
That's,
in there for jail?
well, actually, it's 65.
So Vicki, how do we do on overtime, how are we doing on overtime this year? How much have they expended?
Okay,
You talking jail or?
okay, Barrett, yeah, are you talking jail or sheriff?
Sheriff,
Sheriff.
we're on the sheriff.
Okay.
We just really like to make sure we have all that stuff ahead of time, so we know where you guys will be. That's
Well, I'll be coming for the sheriff before the end of the year, just because I'm running low. We received 60,000, I believe it was, or 65,000 more, so I didn't have to come back every month, like I was doing for the reimbursement from the extra specialty services. But I'm up to that point, and I'm using now regular. So I can't really come back now because I still have money in there because of that 65, but I've got to stay at 65 for just the specialty.
I just want to make sure that 165,000, whatever it is we're setting aside, is going to be sufficient out of the budget. We won't have to revisit it mid-year or something. In case additional.
I mean, it's up to you. I could, of course, need more, but I didn't want to ask for more now. I could.
No need.
Yeah, but I'd rather wait and see, because you never know. It
Yeah,
depends
no.
on
Right.
what goes on, and, you never know. It's just like,
Plus, it gives us an opportunity to see you sometime in June or July.
I'm not, well, I guess it's
Try to
before
put
it starts
additions to the budget.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Accidents, 1101.
Motion to
Okay.
approve.
We need to get the... Second.
Motion and a second, discussion? None? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Extradition,
Motion to approve.
we have a motion and a second, motion in a couple seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Firearms,
Motion. Second.
motion in a couple of seconds. No
You're
changes.
flip-flopping a little bit here?
Yeah, that's because the other equipment, I needed more in other supplies. Other equipment's guns, firearms stuff. The other supplies are targets, any other kind of things for firearms. Yeah. I didn't need it that much for next year.
Targets, aren't they?
Targets, yeah.
You know, moving targets?
No.
Dude,
Yeah,
I better.
Councilmember
Yeah.
Clark, no, Jeremy, no. Any other questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Inmate Health Care Fund,
Move. Second.
we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Riverboat, $250,000.
Move. Second.
We have a motion and a second.
Why was there no money there last year and there is this year?
Because we didn't have it last year.
We moved the,
Oh, 'cause it
we
was the
moved
prosec-
the, yeah, we
Yeah.
moved it from the
Thank you.
prosecutor's office.
Thank you.
Any further discussion?
Good question.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Way to open that wound up, Andy.
I'm
no.
sorry, I didn't know I was doing it. Peel the Band-Aid off quick.
And then, sex offender fee,
Move. Second.
motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Sheriff's Pension Fund, 1193.
Move. Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? All in favor? VIN inspection,
Move. Second.
motion and a second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Continuing ed,
Move. Second.
Motion and a second on the floor, any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? County user fee fund,
Which one?
2505.
Move to approve.
We have a few changes on here. There's a couple of changes on there, right?
Salary.
That's a salary, yeah.
Is that a raise?
What's the county user fee? What is it?
Is there a raise, is there raises in there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
they
it
must
is.
not have caught those. Take them out.
What do we have in the county user fee fund right now, Vicki? I'm just curious.
Okay, we'll look it up for you.
Hey, Dan,
Who are you paying on it?
is this income?
I have,
What is the
right now, I
county
have
user fee?
one of our captains moved some of his money in there. I have part-time hourly people
Oh,
in there,
okay.
and overtime in there.
fund stuff.
Some of mine is in there.
Yeah, that makes sense. I just wasn't.
So Dan, the current cash balance is $144,703.
And we started at,
Yeah, about two,
212, about 255? No.
right.
Yes.
We have to go back to the old system. Bear with us on this.
It's generated this year a little over 50,000.
What feeds this fund exactly?
This is, well, I took my names off because of all the name changes.
Oh,
This is Civil Bureau paper servers, or on the Civil Bureau processing fees.
So what is that telling us, Vicki? It started
okay,
at
that the beginning
157?
balance was $157,200.
Okay. Okay. So where are we on this one? We have a motion and a second on the county user fee?
No.
Motion. Second.
Second, all right. Questions, discussion? You took so you took the raises out of there, the salaries out of there, Vicki, the increase?
County user fee, yes.
So what's the new number?
Where are we? Right, $256,497.
Go back up, because it almost still looked like you,
Yeah, I thought
Yeah,
it was
something's
lower.
off.
so why has it gone up 7,000?
It should be
That's salaries.
257,303.
Right,
Our book shows 249, 230, or 829.
So it's actually, the new number's actually 249,829, Vicki, is that correct?
they moved a captain to your general fund budget, and that totaled, what, $7,168. And then there's a $500 increase that was proposed that we did move out. So this $7,000 got moved into the general fund, so that's why you see that difference there.
When we did that,
And,
But then why is the user fund higher if you moved it out?
We moved it out, so we reduced the user. Same with cover.
Explain that again.
oh, you moved, okay, we moved it back into this fund because you wanted us to take out any of the raises into the general fund. So we moved it back into this fund.
if we're
From
going
the
to do that,
proposed.
so when we came with our captains
Mhm.
to put another captain in the patrol, we were supposed to come back for next year and put him back into the general and take him out of here. So I don't know if that got done. I mean, that was on my proposals, to put him back into
To put it
the
back.
Well,
sheriff.
I think we'll probably address that later.
Okay.
So we just want to reduce that number to 34 like it was before, and then visit the $7,168 later?
Well, I want to be clear, yes, but I want to be clear, so,
Mhm.
Vicki,
Mhm.
so from the 34,000 to 41,168 on salaries, what you're telling me is you moved someone back out of general fund partially into this?
Yes, the original proposal was to move the captain out of this budget into the general fund.
Okay?
But because we're not accounting for any special raises or any changes, we moved that captain back
Back in
into
there.
this one,
Okay.
to bring us back to the status quo. If you want us to move it back to the general fund, we can do that.
Well, I'd like to make sure if it happens, he gets back into the general, whatever ends up happening. I'd like him back in the general.
Mhm.
So your ultimate proposal is to move the captain out of this fund into the general fund?
That's just a portion, it was only like a few $1,000s to get him through the year.
Okay.
$7,000.
$7,000.
7,168.
Yeah. So we did that in order to get them through this year and then to bring them back into the general.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to suggest that when we, at some point during these second readings, we're going to have to discuss, because there's other budgets in here where there are people asking for individuals to be moved out of non-general fund into general fund, and we need to keep an eye on that, because some of them are going to get a little bit salty. Okay.
This was just the difference between his, what position?
Lieutenant.
Lieutenant.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was only that difference that's going to be up in the general fund is the difference.
Right.
So the 7,000?
Yeah. Well, it'd be more for the.
No, in any
year.
case, the number's 256,497 as it stands. Motion second, okay with that?
Yes.
Jeff?
Still not following where that money's coming out.
Don't know where that number's coming from. If you take that money out, wouldn't it be?
So let's try this a different way. Vicki, what did we approve out of this fund
That sounds good.
for salaries?
For 2017,
Yes.
34,000.
And then at any time, did we increase that with any sort of additional
This year?
this year?
Yeah, 3,584.
So we already increased it that
That represents
much.
that half of the
Half of the year.
captain.
So if we kept the status quo, why isn't that number $38,084? Or 39, yeah,
Because that was only.
37,000.
Because that was only half the year. You moved him in, like, mid-year, is that what we're
Yeah, it
saying?
was mid-year.
Okay.
That was
So you
just
put the
enough
whole
to
year
do
in
the
here.
year.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't put the whole year.
That
All right,
makes-
yep.
Now that makes sense.
Everybody okay with that, 256,497 on second reading?
Yes.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Drug Task Force, 4010.
Move.
We have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
So that number's up a little bit, huh?
What,
Just a new position?
No, that would be the
No.
salaries if it didn't.
this
Okay.
is,
Just part
Oh.
of the transfer.
FICA, you move FICA in here a little higher,
Okay.
It appears.
and
And then-
what else made that number?
That would have been the increase, salary increase. The FICA would have been the salary increase.
Yeah, but that doesn't account for 59,000 to 69,000.
Motor,
It says there's undercover expenses
That's,
in drug
yeah,
task force.
so let's talk about that. So is that something that we approved for 2017?
That was when
It's
we
the
moved-
same number?
Is that when we moved the drug unit?
Yeah.
Yep.
yes.
That's my question.
Yes.
Okay. 69,938, motion and a second on the floor. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Charitable donations, 4108.
Move. Second.
Motion and a second on the floor at 41,000, any discussion? That fund supports that, right?
The donations?
Yeah. I mean, we're pretty good in that fund? It's a consistent thing?
Yeah, that comes in as donations, so, yeah.
I know why it comes in, I'm asking, is it consistently coming in?
Not consistent.
What's the
no.
fund look like? Let me try this a different way.
Right now, the balance is just over 20,330, but that's as of today.
Okay. So let's support it. That's my question. All in favor at 41,000?
Aye.
Aye. Overweight Vehicle Fund, 4201.
I guess same question, this fund, you anticipate the revenue will
Yeah.
support the expense?
Yeah, this one does support, and it's constant.
And I'm just curious, if it didn't support it, do you not spend the money at that point?
Oh, no,
Oh,
money's not in there,
Is
it
it
doesn't
general?
matter what the line item
If
is.
it doesn't
I can't
support
spend
and something that we're budgeting as a necessary item, then they come in here and ask us
They
for
would
more
have
money.
to, oh, okay.
If they want to keep paying for it. So the number's 27,670. What's your pleasure?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion or further questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Videotape reproduction, 4908. Is that a new fund?
That's an older fund. It's just that we didn't have video anymore, so I kind of was going to do away with it, but now we're going to have, well, hopefully we're going to have video
Someday.
for our body cameras. So I wanted to keep it, even though there's nothing in it right now but the line item. But the money will start generating as soon as we get that going, get ordinance for that, because we'll be charging.
Yes, it's self-supporting, right?
It'll
We're
be,
not-
oh, yeah, self-supporting.
Well,
It feeds itself.
so moved?
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Photo fund, 4910.
Hold on, Dan.
All right.
With that in mind,
Really? You're going to stop us on the video reproduction fund?
No, you got, you're
where's the body cameras?
No.
You want to tell us where we're at?
Well, what's that?
You want me to tell you where we're at?
Yes, please.
We've tried, I want to do this so Edie doesn't have to, but we put it on the agenda last 2 months, and
And don't be diplomatic, just lay it out there, Sheriff. Tell us what's going on.
They're taking it off, so we don't really know why they're taking it off. But what we have done is we've asked for, we're trying to propose, we're looking at our Fed money. We might have over $100,000 left in our Fed money at the end of the year, and if we did, we're going to come to you and ask if to transfer or as an additional, because we know I call it a transfer, you guys call it an additional, move that over, and we would basically be pretty close to paying the whole thing off. And then we think if we go back to the commissioners, I mean, we did exactly what you guys instructed us to do, go to the commissioners, which we did twice, and they're basically saying, come back to you and put it on the budget, on a line item.
So did you put it in here?
We did not put it in here yet.
We wants to come back with a transfer from the federal money.
So what's in the federal fund now? Do we know?
Are you talking about the federal housing
Right,
reimbursement?
right.
That goes into the general fund.
Well, I understand that, but
Is that 217?
Yes,
Yeah.
1217.
What I'm looking at is how much it's generating, whether there's enough to ask for an additional.
Can you track
Yes.
what it's generating versus what's being expended out of that
Yes.
funding revenue?
Yes. Oopsie. So far this year, 1217, just for the federal, just from the federal prisons, not the state, has so far about $348,855. But that goes into the general fund. It doesn't go into its own fund.
Right.
So it gets commingled with all the other revenue in the general fund.
I'm clear.
Yes.
So it's
By the way,
not,
that happened at the request of the prior sheriff, so everybody knows. He really wanted that to happen, and I'm not sure 100%
And then
why, but...
that fund also is split with the commissioners, who use that money to
333.
pay for
Right.
gas, electric,
Yes.
So let me ask you, so
repairs.
the old 233 then was the commissioner's side of this aisle. So what, on 217, if he's, in theory, saying, we're going to generate, we're going to have an extra $100,000 to spend on body cams, you're the auditor, is that a true statement? I mean, have we budgeted that money, $100,000 less than?
No. I mean, revenue that comes into the general fund gets counted as miscellaneous revenue. We don't put it in a separate area just for the sheriff. Similar to the recorder generates money for the general fund. We don't reserve it for the recorder. The auditor generates money for the general fund. We don't set it aside for the auditor.
Can I say
So-
something?
So that's...
You're free to ask for an additional appropriation, but it would come out of the big...
So the, but from our perspective, then the question is going to be, is it causing an unexpected drain to the general fund? Are we going to have to, if he's saying, I want to spend $100,000 of this money stream that's going into the general fund, is there $100,000 more than we anticipate using of that fund to expend? Is there any way to track that? I understand what you're saying with miscellaneous revenue, and see, this was the problem when this was, a lot of you guys weren't here, but when this came up to us and we were asked to put this into the general fund, the concern at that time was that the fund, or the revenue was drying up.
Exactly.
That was the question. I know the state made some recommendations, but the fact of the matter is, I asked specifically, okay, but you understand that once it's in the general fund, that stream of money is in the general fund, so if it ever starts flourishing again, you understand that that money's flowing into the general fund, and the answer was, it's never coming back.
It was a different philosophy.
I understand.
But the thing is, you have to understand, in your defense, you have that money in the general fund and it's big like a cloud, but we've tracked it, so we know what you've had this year, last year, and it's never really dried up, but you do pay a major portion of our food in the jail. Most counties in the state of Indiana take it out of their general fund, okay? But it's general fund, it's not being supported by the federal prisoners. And I'm not standing on the ledge saying, oh my God, we're going to have to do all this stuff, but when we come for things and we use the federal money, you've always agreed to use that money. But the thing is, because I don't want to get in a position where you're saying you can't use any of that money, because then the question I should ask you and myself is, why do I house federal prisoners? Why do I have to go through all this hassle? And if I did that, it would be a tremendous hit on the county budget, because you would have to pay for at least the food.
Right, that's right. So the question is, this year versus last year versus the year before, what has that generated?
Just from federal?
Yeah.
Okay, in 2016, keep in mind that's for the whole year, though, and we only have...
I can do the math, yeah.
So, about $548,000.
That's just our portion.
Right.
Just the federal portion, just in jail, 1217.
Yeah.
I can get you the
It didn't
printout
dry
because
up.
I put it
And the
together for...
DOC money is also coming.
Right, so
Yes,
the comment was, I'm going to have $100,000 in federal, so that's why I want to get to the federal. So how are we doing this year?
Year-to-date, $348. Now, that's the revenue coming in, and then when you look at the jail 1217 budget, how much has been spent out
Yes.
of that. And in 2016, $528,000 was spent. So they are spending, at least in 2016, about $20,000 less than what was brought in
Okay.
revenue.
Well, that's not counting state, right?
The expenditures are in fact the whole
The whole state
amount.
and federal.
Yes.
and federal.
Yes.
Okay.
You're right, Edie, if you include the DOC, I apologize.
That's a lot more
If you
money.
include the DOC, the figure changes that you spent in 2016, about $120,000 less than what was generated.
Okay.
That's what we're talking about.
No.
That answer your question,
DOC.
that answer your question, Jeremy?
Well, to clarify though, you were instructed for us to put it in the budget for 2018,
Right.
but you didn't do that.
Well, we just were told that last week.
No, we were never asked.
So, the commissioners said, no, go back to
Well,
the
they
council.
just did it this week, wasn't it?
Well, the commissioners in a body didn't. One of the commissioners told us to put it on the budget.
So, and it's probably not a horrible idea, I mean, from our perspective, because it's coming out of the general fund, so we really do need to account for that. I mean, we really do.
I wasn't really sure when I would do that. I didn't think this was the time I was going to.
I would suggest, you know what, I would suggest, Dave, maybe doing it during this budget session, put something together for us.
We do that? All right, great.
Because I think we probably need to, at least in theory, account for that if we're...
Well, just so you're aware, too, I don't know if it's going to be it would be an ongoing, too.
Yeah, what's the operating expense of that?
Well, there is none. It's
After 5 years, we can only tell you what it's going to be for 5 years.
So you're going to cover all that with
Right.
$100,000?
Almost 500,000.
Okay.
But I have 300,000 in seizure money.
Okay. Okay.
So we're
That's
going to
right.
pay the full half of it, we're going to pay right away. I've got that money. The next year, I've already got enough to pay for next year. So you've got the third, fourth, and fifth year. So the 100,000 could pay for the second, third, or
So
third, fourth.
when you put together your begs the question of then, when would you need the 100,000? And if it's something that we don't need
You won't-
next year,
you won't
then
need
it probably doesn't need to go in this budget session for
No.
next year.
I have next year covered.
So it probably needs to be in the budget for the next year.
The following year.
Then there's obviously a disconnect right now between the two. Well,
I mean,
between the three,
We're trying to connect it.
I mean, we
See,
did our part.
yeah, and our thinking was, if we're happy to entertain the expenditure request. I just didn't want to have the council approve this and then the commissioners say, we're not signing contracts. I mean, because I got to tell you, it sucks when it's the other way around. When they sign contracts for stuff we think and clearly have said no good, and they do it anyway, that really sucks. So we're trying to avoid that.
Well, I think to eliminate your worry, because I know you were all worried, we talked a little bit during our meeting about where the money was coming, and I explained I already had half, and I have just a few thousand short of year two. If you feel more comfortable putting the 100,000 in, we just pay it, then you don't have to worry about your...
Yeah, we're not going to have the money for that.
Okay.
It's going to require us to go a little deeper in the well,
I
so...
think we should do that, wait.
Yeah.
As long as you approve it.
Yeah, I mean, if we can approve the funding of it, and then we just budget for it when the year comes that we need
Yeah,
it.
well, I kind of, when he told me to put it in the budget, it's kind of hard. I mean, we don't need...
Yeah, we don't need it.
4 years, 3 years.
Yeah, then you're right.
actually. Yeah.
Then I withdraw my earlier comment, that was an idiotic suggestion for you to do that. It's better that you did.
But thanks for bringing it up.
Any other sidetrack here, Jeremy? You want to talk about anything else?
Sidetrack.
That was good.
I thought it was right on point.
Yeah.
It was right on
Yes,
point.
It was.
It was. Good question, Jeremy. That's why you're my mentor. Photo fund, 4910.
Move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. What's the data process equipment? What's that all about? That's an increase, right?
Data processing?
Yeah, it wasn't there before, it's there now. What's the
No,
change?
data processing always been. It's where we get our...
So it looks like, when I look at this fund, it went from 6,000 to 11,000. So
Since 2017 had none in there.
tell me why
I put in 25, data processing out of that fund, just because we never have enough. That's all our equipment, that's all our software, that's all our computers. We just never have enough.
Okay,
And it's a self-sufficient fund.
it is. I just see you went from 0 to 5,000, and I just wondered if something new had come. So when you say you never had enough, last year was 0.
In data processing?
Right.
That's what it says in front of me.
No, I had 50,000 in there last year.
50,000?
Yeah.
Are you in Fund 4910?
Yeah.
Oh, 4910? No.
The one we're talking about here?
No, I'm
My
sorry.
number-
Oh, you're talking
No.
about the fund. I thought you said data processing.
Yeah, the data processing
Oh, okay.
equipment in the
Okay.
photo fund.
All right, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm on the
That's all
next
right.
one.
Okay, I understand.
That is-
50,000 scared me, by the way. That's
Yeah,
you
well,
did that.
I was going, what? Zero? No, that was because the computers that do all the duplication for we do them all on disks and stuff, those
Right.
computers, we have like a stack, and they need, other items. So that's just to keep that going, is
Okay,
reproductions of the photos.
okay. That's fine.
Sorry.
That's okay. So, guys, what's your pleasure with $11,000? Self-sufficient fund, not general
Move
fund.
to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? DEA proceeds grants. What's your pleasure?
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
What was that adjusted budget of 234, and then we're approving 60,000 this year?
You anticipate your grant being higher? Is that what it is?
Okay, which one are we talking?
We're on the 8118.
8118.
You're one up. Is that the DLC?
Yeah, that's the DOC grant on rental. Oh, that was for the body cameras.
For what?
That's to pay for the body cameras, 58, for the next year, 58.9 or something is what, 58.5.
And what do you, and you anticipate the grant fund being sufficient to cover $185,000?
Oh, yeah.
What's in that fund, just out of curiosity?
Enough to pay for over half of the program.
Yeah, let's start with the number and then work our way back here.
Right. Right.
Okay, the current cash balance is $289,798.
Okay.
What are you,
289.
And
why are you budgeting the 60,000?
That's second year.
That would have been second, okay.
That's the second
Perfect.
year.
and we do have, and we're anticipating, we've got some money coming in too, but
Yeah.
Do you want us to, I don't know if we can.
Fine.
No, just do what we're asking.
Put that full amount in there? Can we put the 234 in with the 60, because we budgeted, obviously, I don't know if they're, well, no, because the year's not over with, they may.
Yeah,
They may.
Because I did get that approved by you, and
Yeah.
if I don't
Never
get
mind.
that paid, if I can't get that out, then I'm gonna come back.
Do an additional, and if they don't do it for next year.
We're hoping they don't get that.
So can I get a motion on 185,000?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second, again, sorry. Any further discussion, questions? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Well, keep us posted certainly on the, I mean, if you come back and ask us, we'll entertain that. We'll entertain your request to purchase, I mean,
good. Thank you.
it ought to be fun to see how that goes. Jail, general fund. So it looks like the jail, general fund is down a little bit. Is that correct? Or is it the same?
Should be the same with the raises.
Here.
Is it? It went from 3456,196 to 3416,595. Not that that's a huge difference, but why? When all the numbers look the same. Oh, no, overtime. You have more in overtime.
10,000, no, that's what we
Oh.
discussed earlier.
Yeah.
10,000 in overtime, yeah. So,
I'll move to approve.
all right, so we have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? County Corrections, 1122. Are we pulling things out of this into general fund? Are you, because I see you're going from like hourly 15,000 to zero. And, you know, training ed, I mean, you're taking some contractual, is any of these reductions being proposed out of the general fund?
There's no reductions in that. We're talking 1122, right?
1122.
We got 157,000 in reduction.
Yeah.
157,000.
We got quite a bit of reduction.
So, go back up, Vicki, let's do this step by step. Go back to the top of that, I can't hardly see the very, oh, is that right up there? All right,
yeah,
so,
right there.
you had hourly 15,000 that was adopted last year, and this year you're proposing zero. FICA, 1148, proposing zero. Office supplies, 120, now you're proposing zero. Food and groceries, 500, now you're proposing zero. My question is, and you had contractual services for 135,000, now you're proposing zero. So my,
Your community correction was moved to your 9152.
So my question was, none of these things are being moved to general fund, correct?
It was moved to 9162?
91, this is a grant, yeah.
So,
It
where's
should be
that
all the
grant?
same, I don't know.
wait a
No,
minute.
it was at the end of the year you had a difference.
I'm confused.
Created number 9152, created grant.
Hang in there.
We'll get there.
Did a reduction
Oh, that was,
earlier this year.
yeah,
The
because
other
that
reduction,
grant
we
was
pulled up
done.
everything that was related to that grant and moved it down to 91.
I see.
Okay.
So your approved budget last year was different, but only because you didn't have that brand new fund.
That was the criminal justice.
So none of these reductions
Oh, the
are being
ICA,
proposed to a
okay.
general fund, is
It's
that
done, that
correct?
grant's done.
It's that grant's
That
done.
grant's done, I'm sorry. Yeah, that grant's over, we're not,
So-
we didn't get it again.
So none of these reductions are being moved to a general fund, is that correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. So like your contractual services for 135,852, what did that pay for?
That was jail programs.
And those are no longer,
They are, but we have another grant.
We have
Got a
another
DOC grant.
Yeah.
So we'll see that.
Yeah,
So is that the 9162? I'm not trying to skip around, but that's where, okay, thank you.
Yeah, so we have a motion and a second at $124,000. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Public Safety Data Tech, 4907.
That's where I'm asking 25,000 in the data processing, because there's not enough money.
Move to approve.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Inmate processing fees, 4911.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? SCAP
Motion to
grant.
approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. 8121.
Same.
Which pleasure?
Move,
You said
second.
That was a grant we don't know.
Yes, grant reduction.
What, that was a grant reduction
So
as well?
we have to even,
Is any of that
Yeah.
funding coming out of the
Okay.
general?
All these things that were being paid out of this grant, none of this stuff is now being proposed to be paid out of a general fund, correct?
No, it's in the new DOC fund.
All right, so the new number's 0. Motion and second, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Sheriff Adult Com Corps. So that one's down a shade. Looks like we got some salaries in there. So we went from 0 to 30, is this a new position?
Sure.
9162.
9162.
Is this where we're pushing some of the
Yeah.
stuff down from the other one?
Pushing everything in there. yeah.
All right.
We got a new, they're paying for a new employee.
and this is a new grant.
This is the new grant, or the
Okay.
new, yeah. And this runs till the end of June, so I'll be back. And they're very positive we're going to keep this.
I'll
So,
move to approve.
yeah, that's fine, 213,500, we have a motion, I'll second it. So like, if we're creating a position with this grant, you're saying it runs through June.
Mhm.
So if the grant runs out, is this a position that will no longer be necessary? You won't be
Yeah,
coming in?
she's-
It'll be necessary, but
It'll
won't be
necessary.
funded.
It won't be funded. She's aware of it. But
Okay.
they,
Okay,
yeah, I don't think
Okay.
it'll happen.
all right.
Was that amount the total amount of the grant? What was the grant total?
The grant, that's the total amount of the grant, but for everything I have in there, there's still some that we had to cover that is going to be coming out of the booking fee because it's inmate programs, which is a, self-sufficient fund.
Any other questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Sheriff's Garage.
Oh, tires and tubes, one of my biggest ones. Never have enough money.
So we have repair collision damage from 70,000 to 0. Is that something that you just moved up to a different line item then? Is that the same thing?
It's right here.
When you're going to auto, truck, and equipment from repair collision, are we expecting less for collision? Yes.
So we're here.
That's what they're asking.
It's the same.
No, it's
Same
the
thing.
same, nothing's changed, yeah. The only thing I have changed is for tires and tubes and laundry.
Is that just the cost of, we're not buying tubes, right? So it's just the cost of.
Well, it's just what
Who's
the
approved?
is called.
There's a motion on the floor to approve a 221-182. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Federal DOC prisoners, general fund, and let's discuss.
I am asking for 30,000 more in household and bedding.
Oh, right after.
Is that
For
to
30.
help- Is that to help outfit the new wing?
It's anything
Replace
like
them.
living homes, beds, we just don't have enough, everything's falling apart. I came and got 20,000 this year, because the bedding is crazy, and clothes and shoes and everything, toothpaste, everything that you would buy for your own home.
So Vicki, as we conclude tonight's festivities, if you could give me a running total of what we've hit the general fund for, and this is, if we approve this, for example, it'll be 30,000,
Okay.
so that we know. Are you keeping track as we go?
Yeah, just what you've done so far, in just the general fund,
In
right?
just the general fund, we'll worry about
Okay.
the non-general fund some other time.
Okay. Right now, can we have some time
You can have all night, I just want to know
Okay.
by the time we're done.
Okay, no problem.
Unless the number just jumps out at you, you can give it to us then. So the number's 560,800 for some new beds.
How do we come up with that 30,000? Is there just an estimated total, or do we?
Well, we needed 20, and it really wasn't enough. You know, we have the one fund that we get a grant for, it's around 90,000, a little over 90,000 a year. That's just not enough to cover everything. It's just not enough. I mean, we end up short every year at the end. We just end up biting nails and not buying stuff until the money comes in, and it's just never enough. And we can't replace anything with that money, because there's just enough to house everybody and keep them, and then we can't replace bedding like we did with the 20,000, bedding, clothing, and stuff like that, and everything's falling apart.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion is second, 560,800. Everybody get their questions answered? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Vicki, do you know, I mean,
We do.
is it going to be a long ordeal to figure out the hit, or do you know? We haven't done a whole lot.
When we put it,
Well, there's a high standard.
Yes. I think we have to go back to the general fund, you know, the.
That's it for the sheriff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Adios.
Thank
Just
you.
good.
Thank you, guys.
Prosecutor.
Have a good night, Sheriff.
I was thinking, the beginning of tonight, what did we begin with?
Have a good one.
Because we're,
Yep.
Let me use the restroom. Nice big one. You guys can start with that, we know.
How's it going?
No complaints.
We got.
Oh, there's always complaints, man.
Yeah, might as well.
Oh, no, he's just saying that tonight, what did we add? I know
Take a
what
second here.
he-
We're going to take about a 5-minute break while Vicki does some numbers for us.
Okay, I didn't, give me a second here. Okay, what we need to do is go back to the 2017 adopted budget and see how we, what we increased just now. That's what he's asking for.
Yeah,
And
I
so-
mean, the big meeting's going to be...
So let's just go through that, now that I know that, yeah, because we're keeping track of it a different way.
Dan, do you guys have an idea when comeback time is going to be?
You know, yeah, probably, you know, where's our final reading, because we're going to do it before that. October 5th. So what I suspect we're going to do is, this is my guess, on that, either that second reading, Vicki,
Well, no, wait, yes,
when we deal with our raises and additional people, we don't want to do that on final reading night, do we? Because that won't give you enough time.
yes.
But if we did it on the 28th,
Yes,
that would do it, right?
yes, it will.
So we'll
Yes.
probably deal with it on the 28th.
Please.
Because there's not big-ticket items on that night, that's a quick night. So that'll give you enough time?
Yes, yes, because we have to calculate FICA,
I
PERS,
totally understand.
and any across-the-board
That's right.
raises, whatever.
So 28th, Brian.
Yes,
5:30-ish, we think,
Yeah.
Dan?
because we didn't take out any of those other requests, like the $600,000 for sheriff pension, so it's still in there. So,
That needs to be in there for our running total. So, it's money. But we kind of knew that we're going in. That'll be great. Yeah, that'd be a good
can
meeting,
I just
28th.
double check, we're comparing it to the 2017 adopted. We need a calculator. We need a calculator.
Where's the news? Are you not here then? Well, I mean, I can do it.
Okay.
What's going on?
Yes, that'd be fine. I think.
Okay, 563,134. Did you lose mine? 4,700?
Little bits of it.
Yeah.
It was as bad as you said.
It came from, she didn't use four. It came from, in the beginning,
Boy, was he wrong.
Well,
Man, was he wrong.
so,
I like how it's just kind of up, you know,
she wanted
I thought it was better.
to have Central Park to hold a rally.
Peaceful rally, which always ends up people gathering around the mayor's house.
Exactly, exactly. So,
Something that she had to go to the park board for, and the park board isn't gonna give you a park without you paying. I don't care what you're having, or you could have it for,
I'm okay.
you know, a baby shower, graduation, a picnic, whatever. But you're gonna pay.
Smart, yeah.
What's going on?
Are we gonna have a happy day or a bad day?
We're gonna have a quick day. Not much to talk about tonight.
You never know.
didn't cut anything,
It's a
so
coin
we're
toss.
still at the 34, whatever, 43. But.
So apparently, the
to
jail
go
is playing
from-
hardball on, buying it, huh?
That's what it looks like.
Wow.
I'm sorry?
So what did they want?
Plan two is already in.
Did they say what, how much?
Yeah, I forget. I think they wanted way more than the appraisal came in at. Yeah. They were a couple of appraisals, and they were shooting much higher than even the highest appraisal.
How much did we sell that to them for originally? Wasn't it like $400,000?
Your pennies on the dollar.
Yeah.
And then they scrapped it and made that much, scrapping all the old metal
Well,
out.
he actually did make a lot of money scrapping metal, but then he spent a lot of money in the air handlers and got new buildings.
Be asbestos in there too.
I think that was his
848.
recitation of the facts, is that he's got $1 million of renovation, but even at the,
But not, yeah, nowhere near, he's way on the line.
yeah.
But I mean, how many tens of thousands of square feet are just sitting there and have been
Okay,
sitting
see,
there
I
empty for a
thought,
decade?
there's
Well,
different
that's
ways
right,
of doing this.
and,
We're
you know,
going either down from the requested to get to our target, up from the adopted, and so we do it all different ways every time, so.
Well, I know they had talked about trying to get like a medical facility, I mean, like doctor's offices and things, and that just.
That's fell through. I think there's been a couple of things that have kind of went through the cracks there.
Anybody with a medical
10
is
years
gonna go
from
out
now.
towards that
Hospital.
hospital. you know?
Well, I'm told that Mark Forston's place is gonna be all medical, the new strip mall he built.
Yeah?
I'm told that that's who's going there, some medical concern.
Oh, no kidding.
And he's got money, doesn't he?
That's right.
Well, at least the restaurant's gonna be staying.
Oh, that's their conference room for the, yeah, I've never been back there.
I know,
So we put
I know,
that
great restaurant.
You've never been there? You've never been there?
Here.
I'm walking, I know where you're going. Back here, I was like, oh, okay.
So we put that
gonna work.
past.
Yeah, keep me around.
You wonder
In
what takes
And I
longer,
know we
building
took out
from
the
scratch or building.
But were they saying that they wanted to
rehab, remodeling,
general
whatever it's
fund
called.
when we get to the final?
Well, building from scratch, you can do what you want to do.
Well, clearly, you can design it from the get-go, absolutely.
Yeah, I'll hold on.
I still cannot find that 234 that they got that in that my grant.
I found you on Facebook, I'm happy.
So it was in the third quarter.
I got publicly shared.
Yeah. Congratulations.
It's, is it the DEA Burn Memorial? That's the one. Yeah. Oh, well, remember this, DLGF company, go by them.
Good, then you can make some money.
That's good. Yeah, I see it, I've got it, DEA Burn Memorial.
You guys are all. He's a star. He's a star, daddy. You did good.
Where's it playing?
Baseball, high school.
Baseball, basketball?
No, football.
That should have gone
I
into
don't
the,
follow sports that much.
that's the 8118.
We just may be done.
When I saw you guys at the football.
All right. Playtime's over. That it?
All right, President, sorry.
Prosecutor, general fund.
Move it through.
Where'd the audience go?
So, let me ask you this question. If we take the raises out, all right, and I know your proposal was to move some folks into the general fund from non-general fund.
That is a proposal.
All right. And then also, but I see, if we've taken all that out, why are the salaries down to 855, 564? Do we have less people?
Well,
Lori.
well,
And we took out overtime.
Holy cow.
tell me what we took out. so we took out overtime.
All right.
I witnessed that, Edie.
So 905 down to 855, the indication is that that's overtime reduction?
There's 42,000
Yes.
that was taken out of overtime.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the salaries, go up one. So you went from 905 to 855. And I understand you took hourly down from 42,000 to zero, but what about that 905 down to 855?
Two scenarios. I think that probably part of that is going to be the pulling out.
Yeah, but I want to make sure that this is your general fund.
Right.
So, but you're not pulling out, I mean, your proposal wasn't to pull out of the general fund and putting in the non-general fund, right?
It's the drug coordinator, 49.
Ah,
Okay.
that's it. That's the answer.
What was your, I couldn't hear.
The drug coordinator's coming out.
Thank you.
Right.
That came out, and then we
Right.
reallocate it.
Right, gotcha. Okay. So the number's 901,891. What's your pleasure?
Move to approve.
Say, what's the number again?
901,891.
And that's just taking out the raises and everything else?
Right.
And we asked you, Brian, before, you had some monies that you set aside, and we're hoping not to use them again this year, but
Well, I mean, it's always the deferral, the
Right,
deferral and the diversion. I can relate to the council. I had the numbers run today. Our infraction deferral is up a little bit from the beginning of the year. Our pretrial diversion's up a little bit. You know, those numbers, there's no real way to have a long-term determination of, you know, what those are going to be. We had, to be honest with you, we lost some money during the great battle of e-filing on some infractions and things for various reasons. So things like that jump up and bite us. And
So I would suggest that when we get into the raises, we talk a little bit about his request to, because those, you know, that's a hit. Okay, any other questions?
And I would say, Dan, we've kind of we were asked to sort of bring some alternatives.
Yeah, and I saw that's what you did, and that's good, and that helps, because I think when we have different options to go at, and I want to see your folks get raises. I do. I want to see your folks get some raises. So I'd like to find ways to do it.
that was about 52,000 or something, wasn't it?
It turned out to be about 48 and change.
Yeah, okay.
What, can I ask?
Yeah.
Office investigator.
Yep. We don't need one anymore. Because when I ran the drug unit, our office, that was the sole responsibility of our investigator.
Thank you.
And now the sheriff's got that. That's money that
Right.
isn't allocated to anything. And it's funny because most prosecutors' offices have an office investigator, but you only need an office investigator when your law enforcement agencies, specifically the detective bureaus, are lacking in the small counties.
Right.
The small departments. That's a real struggle. They need someone in their department to go and investigate their cases. Well, we don't need that. We have really good detective bureaus across the board. So, you know, I don't know what I would do with an office investigator.
We should have brought you
Anyway.
up before the sheriff left, so he could at least hear that.
He knows that. He knows.
It's on YouTube.
Thank you.
So, that's the explanation.
So all in favor of 901-891, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Prosecutor deferral 2501. What is in that right now?
153 is what it was this morning.
Okay. Okay, that's good. So, you've got a little bit of an increase in there in the sense of salaries have gone up just a shade, but we did some adjustment along the way there, Vicki, is that correct?
Was it
Okay, there's
raises out of there? Is that-
43,600.
Yeah, that's where you guys
Those were-
hit the raises.
That's where we hit the
Yeah.
raises in
Okay.
March. Yeah.
So the new number is 509,967. What's your pleasure?
Move.
Second. Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pretrial, 2503.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion is second on the floor.
What's the number? Is that,
75,740. And that's because there's raises coming out of that, I would assume?
is that?
The 2,500?
One raise.
Yeah, just one small.
Individual.
We keep it in there, take it out? What's the?
No, I'm going to leave it in there right now,
We had the additional in perf and also in...
Why do you leave it in there right now?
because I don't want to move it into the,
Right.
because that's a raise we already gave,
That
right?
was, yes.
Well, and there's one small one
I take that back.
Well,
Yeah.
we have one employee that gets paid, one grant employee that gets paid out of this as well.
Right.
And so we can't,
Oh.
the raise for that person is coming out of the same account that they're paid out of, which would be this account.
Is this a new raise or is this?
This is a new raise.
A new raise.
This is-
It's like $1,500.
This is not a March raise.
No.
So it should
It's just coming from a different source.
So it should be removed if we're doing everything?
Yes.
that
Yes,
way?
Correct.
yeah, that is
Correct.
Thank you, Andy, I did not see that. So, put my trust and faith in Brian.
What's that?
We didn't take out that raise.
Yeah, that one
We
needs
just-
to come out. for
All right, so
the year.
what's the new number now?
The total, that's
Yeah.
74,240.
Perf, you have perf hire, we have,
What's the other increase?
and we have FICA hire, and you still have $2,000, 2,500 higher,
In salary?
because we must have, so the 2,500, we must have given an increase out of this during the year.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, there was that 2,500 adjustment in March.
We did. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but this is an additional to March
All right.
raise.
Yeah.
I apologize, yeah.
That's okay. So, that's a raise we already gave, guys. So 74,240 is the big number. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Let's moving on down the line to 2507.
Move to approve.
Seconded.
Motion to second, $5,000. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Prosecutor 4D.
Moved.
Move, second.
We have Sylvia, actually, you made the motion and then second. I did say move. This is a woman that, she's really energetic about this.
I heard him say
All right, all in
We needed that.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Domestic violence grant, 8112.
Move,
We have a motion
second.
and a second. A little bit of training in ed. What kind of stuff, the $10,000 you didn't have before, that you're paying out of here? Is this something new, or are you moving it from some other
They
place?
gave it was approved
I
by
think
the
you
grant.
skipped one.
So is it new training that we were otherwise not doing?
Well, we would take it out of our discretionary funds if they had to go to training.
Just curious.
Other people's money, as you know.
Yep. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
All right.
Aye. Opposed?
Dan,
Yes.
8099, I think you skipped on, after drug task force.
4D, no, he said that, prosecutor 4D was.
Yeah, 8909 we did, and then we just did domestic
What
violence.
about pros PCA?
We did that.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
8099.
Yeah, that's the 4D.
We missed it.
Yeah.
We were talking.
You guys were all for it. So we can go back. You both
That was the second one.
All right. Stop grant.
Motion approved.
Second,
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Prosecutor ARRA,
What is that? That's.
is that a grant?
it must be, is it a grant that's dried up?
Yeah.
Move,
Second.
Motion is second at zero. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Any of that money gotta come from anywhere else?
That's a good question.
The ARA?
Yeah.
No, that fund is done. It was the incentive fund, and they switched it, and so now it is, what's it, 8897.
So none of it is going to be like general fund kind of
No,
stuff?
we used all the money in that, and it's gone.
So the 8897 is actually collecting that 13,000 that was in there, or part of that 13,000?
No, the ARA fund was set up, before 2008, I think.
Yeah.
Got a bunch of money, we spent it all, so
Okay.
we don't need much for it.
So there's nothing in there, you guys are moving down to another line item anywhere else? Okay.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
General 4D incentive, 8895.
That's the one I'm asking.
That's the one you're asking what?
The raises?
That's all raises. That fund can only be used for 4D purposes. There's about $265,000 in it.
What if we raised your salary to $265,000?
Then I would do that.
That would be amazing.
And that fund generally gets,
That was what I was
a
saying.
substantial amount a year. I mean, it
On the second one, or?
So we can move a bunch of stuff in there, is that what you just?
4D.
Well, the problem is you're really limited to what you can spend.
That's right.
on. I mean, really, really limited.
That's
So
right.
in 2016, that fund grew by $60,933.
What do we currently have in
So it
there?
is
About
on
240.
average, gets about 55 to 60.
You say there's about 240 in it?
That's good. Real good.
But these are raises, so you wanna?
Yeah, we'll hold on to that.
No, I think we're here.
Yeah. That'll be an easy one.
So what do you wanna do with that, just,
Second reading, 0, and then we'll deal with the raises on the third, or when we have that meeting on the 28th.
how do you deal with that, with
Yeah.
zeroing,
Do we
we
just,
just zeroing it out?
No,
How
I
do we approve
mean,
it? What are we approving? Do we deny
Table
it?
it?
We've never
What do we
used it
table it?
before.
do what?
We never had a budget on that.
Yeah, it's just,
So we put proper action on it, Harold.
the proper action is you don't technically, let me just take this.
We paid him.
You don't technically have to do anything on second reading, by the way. This is just to get a straw for everybody's feeling on stuff, so.
You made us vote on first reading.
Yes.
I didn't know we ever had to-
Yes, I did. So, we're voting on this just to get an opportunity for people to remonstrate us, to vote, to express our dissatisfaction with the second reading. So my suggestion, my suggestion would be to, it's at 0 on second reading, just prove it at that, and then when we get to the
Motion to approve at 0.
second, all in favor?
8895.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote no. I want that money in there. No, I'm just kidding. I'm voting yes.
So now you just threw everything off. You took all the raises out, now you're gonna vote for a set of raises.
First of all, second of all, I was outvoted. All right, Prosecutor 4D, you just want this even to go on forever, don't you, Jeremy?
He's playing to the...
It's like high school prom.
He's playing to the audience.
All my friends.
just living in the moment.
8897. 175,909.
A little bit of an
That
increase.
perf increase was pretty big, almost $6,000. Is that because of salary increases?
So do we just approve it at,
Well, yeah, but then we moved some money to perf there during the year, so that 5,600 already occurred.
Right.
We're just sort of, accounting for it, yeah.
second?
175,909, we have a motion and a second. Jeff, did you get your questions answered on that?
Absolutely, I saw that 5,600, I just want to make sure 9,300 covered it, because that's really close.
All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. State local grant 9114.
Move to approve. Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Prosecutor 4D General Fund.
Raises, is that it?
Yeah, but now it's the same.
Right, the raises are out.
Yeah.
We're hoping you do that, but the alternative is not to set up a fund.
Right, right. We like the alternative. It's an easier sell.
I seldom ask for new money.
I understand. 607-813, what's your pleasure? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, kids, that's it.
What?
Fun's over.
We've done this.
I thought that'd be way worse.
Oh, it was good.
He didn't do anything.
Don't you worry.